for the light. Welcome to all of you out on the internet. Welcome to the latest edition of the Daily Unit Pod. Thankfully, the international break is almost over, and what a feast we will have when it is. North London Derby on offer. I'm Raphael, joining you from the United States. New cohort here, slightly different. To my left is Ryan. Welcome back, Ryan.
Thank you for having me. Hope you're well.
Always good. Below him on your square, MJ, joining us again. Welcome back, MJ. Good to have you back.
Hello, thank you very much.
And directly beneath me on your internet square, Jacob. Welcome back, Jacob.
Always a pleasure to be here.
All right. Again, we tempting to jump in and start talking about North London Derby. It's only just a few days away on Saturday, but some business to tend to prior to the international break. Let's talk about Arsenal's last venture out on the pitch. They came out that kind of a one-off. Came on, played a match, went on break, came back from a break, played a match, went on the second break. Very tidy, Ryan. 3-0 victory. Well, for all of gentlemen, they played Brentford. We were concerned they were going to go on the road. I was pleased and impressed by the level of domination from the Arsenal side. Anybody wants to tear at that? What stood out?
I'll go first if you want. Yeah, I was slightly worried going into the Brentford game because of what happened last season. I know we had a few players missing last year, but still, it's Brentford away. They've not lost. I think they've only lost one London derby there, and they've only lost by more than 2 goals once in the last 18 months at their home. So it's like, it's just going to be a tough away game. But it was anything but. It was I wouldn't say easy game, but we made it look fairly easy. Saliba and Gabriel weren't really tested. Tierney slotted in. Like, best compliment I can pay Tierney was nobody noticed Zinchenko wasn't playing. And again, Ben White, the back forward is brilliant. Partey being back is an absolute godsend that he was back. He's Rolls Royce in the middle of the pitch. He allows Xhaka to play the game that we want Xhaka to play. And we'll talk more about Xhaka later, but again, showing his importance to this team. Vieira slotted him very, very well in place of Odegaard. So overall, I was really, really impressed with the attacking plays we had and how solid we were defensively.
I want to jump in and let other people can talk about this. I just want to make one observation because I caught this halfway through the first half. And, we talk about Partey and his ability to kind of sit back and let Xhaka go forward and let, other players play their game, and he's just going to clean up everything. But there was a moment where Brentford was trying to break out, and there was Thomas Partey kind of like as the fourth member of that four on the press and preventing Brentford from getting out of their own half. And I was thinking, like, I'd love to see this guy's heat map because he was really forward and backwards. He was everywhere.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you see the same? I was amazed.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I sort of highlighted about Partey is he's exceptional at the simple things. Like, he makes the simple things really effortless, and the way that he plays the game, and the performance overall for him and the team, it was probably the most complete performance offensively and defensively as well. But for Partey, it might not have been one of his, the top 20 games that he's performed in, but he made everything look really, really simple and effortless. And he's really integral to how we play. And I'm really hoping that he's going to be fit for the weekend. I don't know whether it's 80% or 100%, and whether we take the headlines of precaution. I don't know how much we can look into that, but I hope we can be fit for the weekend.
Yeah, I think obviously everyone's singled out Partey. Ryan's mentioned Xhaka. I think this was a game where the midfield really shone, and not just in terms of their technical ability or quality on the ball. We've seen that throughout the season. I think this showed a real maturity of when to move it, when to just kind of keep it safe, which led to that kind of, it looked easy. And we we kind of did what Man City did, which, I've said the last couple of years, Man City are now kind of boring to watch, as efficient as they are. But we just sucked the life out of the game. Brentford couldn't get the ball. Our midfield just went, we've got the ball. We know when to kind of drive with it a bit. We know when to just pass it back or go out wide. It was just a real mature performance from those guys in midfield, and I'm really hoping we see more of it.
I'll take singling out other players, the range and the freedom that I saw with Martinelli in this match. Early in the match, he got himself open in the box. I was kind of watching the match again. Should have scored around the 5th minute. Just got himself on the ball right about the 6-yard dot and wound up to kick the ball and slid and scuffed it. Arsenal could have just really kind of put Brentford under their foot that quickly, but he plays a lot on the left and he drifts inside a lot, but he was drifting way deep into the midfield, and oftentimes he was switching sides and floating to the right. I'm wondering if that's, certainly he has the confidence, and it seems that the manager has given him that freedom. I guess this is his role now. It's strange. It's pleasant. It's fun to watch. I think he's looking to give himself more opportunities doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think with Martinelli, I think it depends who's behind him. With Zinchenko, Martinelli plays more of a natural winger. He goes up the byline, he takes his fullback on. But if he's got Tierney overlapping, then he cuts inside and he becomes a playmaker. And the best thing about Martinelli is he can do both. He can be a goal scorer, he can create, he can take his marker on 1v1. His talent is just there. And it's very... in that game as well, he was just so good at coming inside, cutting back outside. So unpredictable that his fullback had no idea what he was doing. And he got that chance he had at the start of the game all come from him coming inside, Xhaka moving outside, and Tierney overlapping, and we had the space causing chaos. And that's what Martinelli does best for us, is cause chaos.
He's kind of that player you don't want to play against if you're a defender, because he's always so busy, whether he's on the ball or without the ball. There was times in the second half when there was maybe 15 minutes of no action and we might have lost the ball, and he's first onto the first player that's got the ball from the Brentford side. So he's really one of those horrible players you don't want to play against. And he does have that bit of Alexis Sanchez about him. But it's just his work rate and his stamina. It's just really, really, I don't know how, in terms of the metrics, in terms of how fit he is compared to everyone else, he's probably the one that, I don't know if he brings in the most ground covered amongst everyone else. That's something we need to look at, but he's one of those players you really don't want to play against.
Yeah, he's causing terrors every game I see him this season. Obviously, last couple of seasons, he's been very kind of stop-start, hit and miss, a flurry of games here, a flurry of games there. But yeah, this season he's just started so well, and it doesn't look like how he's looked in the past. He kind of came in and out a bit of games, was really productive for periods, and then floated out again, and then missed a few games. He's just on it every moment of every game. Whether or not he's finally clicked into the system or having Jesus around him has really unlocked him, it's probably a little bit of both. But yeah, I think if I was a defender, you would not want to play him right now, because as we've already alluded to, he goes outside, he goes inside, he can pass, he can shoot. Like, he has the ability to affect the game in so many different ways, whether it's beating the man to unleash someone else, putting in a great delivery, or being the goal scorer. And to be that kind of all-rounded, especially at his age, is it's going to be a real danger for several years if he keeps it up.
I'm going to address, we may have talked about it a little bit in the last pod, but it's something I know MJ's written about this, but we talk about it in the group, how first goal comes from a set piece, from a corner, that we need to look at the work of Nicolas Sqaud, that second year as the set piece specialist with Arsenal, and how he's taken this in stages. Last year was kind of the negative. They seemed the team emphasized like we're not going to concede anything. And I remember they were at least 3/4 of the season, at least into the campaign before they surrendered a goal from a corner. I think they, correct me if I'm wrong, they only gave up one the entire season. And now it seems like phase 2 is coming in, and they can almost score from corners at will now. We've seen it from Gabriel, this time again from William Saliba. It doesn't matter if they kick it long and they head it back across, or this time it was just to the short side. Saliba was there, heads it off the back, his head, beautifully placed off the post, just picture perfect. They're kind of complete in that, and it's such an advantage for Arsenal in any match now. They know even if they fall behind, or especially if they're ahead, they can just take the lead, and it's almost like teams are afraid to concede corners against them at this point.
Yeah. I think that evolution you talked about of last season really making sure we didn't concede, and this season move on to attack has been kind of a theme of Arteta's reign. First thing he did when he came in is kind of really shore us up. That meant 5 at the back at times. It's meant replacing a lot of defenders. That's kind of where he focused on. And now only this season have we really seen, some alteration in the attack, and that kind of area really starting to click. So I guess it makes sense that's where they went with the corners first. Like, let's shut it all out and now evolve. And yeah, I think it's been really interesting because it's not just been cross into the box and, just see if your big, powerful guy can head it in, kind of corners of the past. There's been patterns. We've obviously saw the one with Zinchenko heading it back. We've seen other ones, kind of people getting across. And so we've seen deep posts, we've seen near posts, which, to be honest, for a couple of seasons, the amount of terrible corners we saw of not even beating the first man, to see these kind of different patterns and picking out different areas, and not really got enough info yet, but I suspect the kind of patterns that we're looking at, whether near post or far post, are based on kind of analytical evidence of that team from previous games. Where are they, where have they been hurt before, and what can we take advantage of? So that's kind of something I want to keep an eye out in future, kind of see if there is a pattern of how teams have conceded before, and if that's something we look to exploit again. But yeah, to have a real range, and yeah, we do have now kind of more players who are a threat in the box, but it's a combination of good players and the patterns. So all credit for the team for that evolution.
Yeah. So go on, MJ, if you want.
No, I was just going to say, if you guys saw the bench cam, one of the corners, England Sqaud is one of the first guys out on the touchline. He's in front of Mikel Arteta.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's us defending a set piece, not one taking. So you can really see his influence, and it's kind of like a penalty to us. The way Leicester like conceding corners is like giving away penalty. In a way, for us, it's kind of like a penalty that it's an advantage for us. And you get that feeling now when we get a corner, you think, okay, something could happen. It at least cause a bit of danger. So it's a real advantage now that we've really worked on. And I'm hoping Saliba gets one against Tottenham. That'll be a really good one to enjoy. But yeah, it's a real weapon now. It's something that we've really, really got good at now.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate what Jacob said. I think it's down to two things. Number one, what Jacob said, the variety of crosses or corners we can take. And two, that we're just a much bigger team now. You think we got Ben White at right back, who's 6 foot, or Tommy, who's 6'1". You got Saliba at centre back, 6'3", Gabriel 6'3", Partey 6'1", Xhaka 6'1", Jesus taller than Lacazette. Not that makes any difference, but Saka, he looks small, but he's 5'11", and that is still quite big. Martinelli's 5'10", 5'11", so they're all big. They're a threat from the set pieces in both ends. And I don't know how Jacob feels when he's in the stadium, but I don't feel like we're going to concede from a corner anymore. And I always feel like we're going to score from a corner. I'm already standing up in my seat, like ready to celebrate when we get a corner.
Well, that's the reason we wanted Louise, isn't it? Just so we don't concede from a corner.
Oh yeah,
Another thing that comes to me though, watching this and being frustrated, and this goes back years. One of the fundamentals of the corners is that the quality of the corners is just improved so much. Whether it's Saka or Martinelli, they're far more precise. And like if it's going to the far post, it's because they wanted it to go there, and if they put it in the near post, it's because they wanted to go there. Or they want to put it in the box or in swing or out swing. They've clearly worked on that. And it doesn't matter if it's Saka on one side or Martinelli on the other side, or they're playing it short. They're going to play it to Xhaka, and he's going to get it in. That's another part of why this is succeeding so much, is that the ball's being fed in. I mean, the quality of everything on this and in these set pieces has just gone up and up and up. So that's very different and welcome, because I you've done it, whether you're at home or in the stadium, just screaming at all these crosses that used to come in that couldn't clear
Cedric
defender's head.
yeah. The quality of our crosses previously, but weren't very good, were they?
No.
I always used to call Cedric, like, whenever he got the ball on the right, I say to my friend next to me, mid-table team crosses coming in, like every time. Hit the first man, come back to him, go out for a goal kick every single time. I had heart palpitations when he stood over our free kicks as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could never get it. I don't think I ever will, but there we go.
Well, on to the quiet man, I guess, who had a brilliant, talking about feeds. We were, one of you, I think it was Jacob, was mentioning earlier, Xhaka getting the freedom to play because of Partey. And he just showed another facet of his improved game, just a sublime, just left measured chip right onto Gabriel's head, just looped right over the defender. Easy for him to hit a cross corner, beat David Raya for the second goal. He just looks so much more comfortable. This is a different Granit Xhaka.
Yeah,
this is Ryan's favorite topic.
Well, Ryan's been waving the banner for Granit Xhaka for a long time, but now it seems like he's really making it easier for you now.
Yeah, I've always said he's not a 6 and he's not a deep line playmaker. He is a box-to-box machine. When he was at Gladbach, he was the box-to-box. You see his numbers for going forward, and they were great. So when Wenger brought him, I was like, play him next to Coquelin, or do you know what I mean? But he didn't. He played him as the base next to Cazorla, and that kind of set the narrative for his Arsenal career. Kind of like, he's got a mistake in him. He can't play with his back to goal. We know that. He's not quick on the turn. As I said in the group plenty of times, he turns like the Titanic. He's not quick on the turn. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the skill to get past players. But you put him in positions where he can look up, find the pass, he will make it. And now he's adding assists, goals, the third man running. I think with Martinelli's chance, he probably should have taken the shot on himself. If I'm pretty certain if he had more confidence in that, his efficient finishing ability, he probably smashes that into the top corner. 9 times out of 10. He's got the ability to do it. So that will come with more confidence in that position. And I think it's a credit to him how hard he's worked to turn the narrative around him around. And his fans are singing his name at the stadium now. You wouldn't have thought that this time last year.
Yeah, it's absolutely a credit to him. I certainly wasn't among his biggest haters. I valued some of the stuff Xhaka added, but I must admit, I never saw this player. Not once did I think he could reach these kind of levels and do the sort of things that he's doing. Obviously, the whole saga of the summer was who's going to be that left 8? Who's pushing Xhaka out the team? This is the summer that Xhaka finally loses that guaranteed starting spot. I certainly didn't hope he would leave, but he's going to be very hard to replace in this role. Last season, you're kind of going, he's doing well. He's adapting to this new role well enough, but it looked like a position where you could kind of you got a true left 8 in, that position would explode. But no, Jack has exploded, and it really is a credit to him. You think of how close he was to leaving by his own admission, Arteta's own admission, and obviously we all knew the news reports of him. He was close to Roma. It's a really unbelievable turnaround. I can't really think of anyone who's done something similar. The fans, a majority of the fans did really want him gone. He wanted out. And to be fair, but you got to give credit to Arteta and that as well, in terms of going, you know what, things will change here. You stick by me, things will change. And yeah, Xhaka's decision to stay is vindicated. Arteta's decision to, kind of put his neck on the line for him a bit. It's been vindicated. And yeah, I really, really hope this kind of Xhaka keeps performing, because I just can't see anyone kicking him out the team right now.
It's such a good story, isn't it? The sort of full circle story around Granit Xhaka. So now you just imagine where we might be in 2 years' time. He'll be one of the figureheads of this team with the story that he has. And I think it's a little bit unfair, the time when he was signed, it was also a period of darkness for the club as well. So that didn't help him at all. So the last year of Wenger, maybe the first couple of years of Unai Emery, and not knowing where to play him. So it's kind of a fault of the system and not knowing where to play him and get the best out of him. I used to always buy him on Football Manager because he was one of the young stars apparently to buy on your starter team. But it's such a really good story to see him play the way he is now, and he's making it very difficult to be replaceable, especially in the window when we were thinking we're going to get that left day, as the guys are saying. Like, who's going to be that mobile left day that's going to get the goals? But this guy's got 3 assists in 7 league games now, and that's the kind of numbers that you get from a left day. So it's a really, really good story around Granit Xhaka.
And it's funny how quickly as Jake was referring to earlier, that you don't hear it anymore. Even I'd say a month ago, you're still people saying, well, at some point Xhaka will get a better this summer, maybe in January, but certainly this summer we're going to get better. That's quieted down so quickly now. I don't hear it anymore. Yeah,
and this is what I was saying all summer. If you're going to go for a left 8, it has to be better than Xhaka. And you have to break the bank for one. Because you sign someone like Tielemans, he's not, I don't think, much of an upgrade on Xhaka. I said this at the start of the summer. I don't think in that position he's much of an upgrade. If you're going to get a left 8, you go next summer and you get a big name like Neuhaus, Florian Wirtz, someone like, I know it's a pipe dream, but Bellingham. Someone like that, of that ilk, you break the bank for, not spend 20 million on a player that might be better than Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, and that is the area where is going to be the kind of big money spent, because obviously you've got Partey and Xhaka, certainly not retiring yet, but, they're at the older age of the squad. Defence has had its overhaul. It's pretty young. Attack's very young, for a starting attack. So midfield is where the big money is going to be spent soon in, for a 6 and an 8. So it will be interesting to see how the club deal with that, whether they go big on both positions or look to kind of develop one and go big on the other.
And speaking of midfield, let's talk about the new guy. We were saying coming in, we've just seen a little piece, gotten a little taste of Fabio Vieira, and boy, did he give us a delicious intro with it. Just again, quick goal. I missed it. It came so quickly after the half. I was still in my kitchen puttering around and poked my head around and said, "Oh wow, a third goal." Vieira with just again made it look ordinary. Difficult, like very much like the first goal Saliba scored off the post. This one, he sees an opening well outside the box, curls it in, bounces it in like he does it every day on the practice pitch.
It looked measured, the strike. It looked like, just from, I've seen the goal good few times now. It looked like something he practiced. I think Martinelli said after the game that was a shot that he was practicing in the pre-match warm-up. And there are reports when we signed him, there was mentions of his ball striking in Portugal, that there's a really unique technique that he possesses in his ball striking. And I hope it doesn't get coached out of him. We have this sort of myth that we coach the ball strikers out of their game when we sign them. Granit Xhaka luckily kept his, and hopefully Vieira doesn't lose his. And I think we'll see a few more type of that goal. It'll be interesting to see if he is that controller type midfielder like Odegaard is. And I've said before, I think squad depth in a way won us this game. Last year, you're probably looking at Tavares and maybe Emil Smith-Rowe possibly coming in for those two, Odegaard and Zinchenko. But in this occasion, it was Vieira and Tierney. So it'll be really interesting to see how he develops in terms of how he would control the game. It might be a completely different tactic and strategy with him, but it's a lovely goal. It came in early in the second half as well, which really killed off Brentford's probably hopes for trying to get back into the game.
Yeah, I actually thought it took him a little bit of time to grow into the game. Like, he had some neat touches and didn't do anything wrong, but it didn't feel like he really imposed himself until late first half, and particularly after that goal. He kind of looked like he was having fun then. But yeah, clearly he had the technical ability, because he wasn't doing anything wrong even before. He just wasn't really imposing himself. But to, have the confidence, and yeah, we're 2-0 up. I know that does give people a bit more of a license to take shots like that on. But still, he had the confidence to take it. And as you said, like, Brentford were probably coming out for that second half hoping, right, let's get into them a bit here. They have conceded goals in the second half. And that goal just knocked the stuffing out of them and took any kind of hopes of a comeback. So I think just a confidence on him to go, you know what, I'm stepping up and taking this shot. And we've not even come close to seeing the best of him. These are still performances of a player who is growing into this team and players are still adapting to. Because there are a few times where players probably bypassed him, and not because they didn't trust him, but because they weren't used to him and the positions that he was taking up. So he was probably a good option on at least 4 times I can think of where players kind of took a harder route rather than giving it to him. So as those relationships develop, we're going to see a lot more influence from him on the ball.
And just touching on MJ's point about the squad depth, I think that's what it gives us as well, is 2 different options in the number 10. Because you've got the Odegaard, who's the creator, who'd rather set someone else up. And then you see with Vieira, he doesn't mind shooting from anywhere. He did it against United. He took a couple of long-range shots against them. Against Zurich, he had a couple of shots from distance. And I think that's what he gives you. He's the type that, I don't want to compare him to him, but he's like Bruno Fernandes, where he's a goal scorer as well. And like Odegaard is more like the Ozil type that does the creating and rather someone else score.
Well, just as an Arsenal player, just as that ruthlessness, and as you said, that bloodthirsty. Like if I see a slight opening and I'm anywhere near the box, I'm going to let it fly. I mean, I was thinking, like, we haven't had somebody like that in the midfield since Aaron Ramsey left, and here he is, again. And Ramsey would hit those screamers and they blow your mind. But here, Vieira's like, and I look at this and I think, well, that we were talking the last 2 years when he was available from Juve, should we bring him back because we don't have somebody with that, again, who's just with that nose for the goal in the midfield who wants to shoot. Vieira wants to shoot. That's clear.
I'm interested to see how they kind of develop each other, because I think we've seen a bit of it on that left wing. Smith-Rowe was the creator, the link-up player, and Martinelli was the goal scorer. So obviously they had different options. Smith-Rowe went out and went, right, if I really want to be ahead of Martinelli, I've got to add goals to the game. It's exactly what he did. He scored a bunch of goals last season. And Martinelli, we've talked about it this pod already, has become a creator. So, it's possible we see that kind of competitiveness and in that position on the 10 and improve themselves so Odegaard does take on more shots and get more goals. And then you see Vieira trying to do some of the more controlling stuff that Odegaard does. So I think it'd be interesting to see if they do have any effect on each other in those kind of situations.
I wonder if we'll play in the left 8 in some games. People are putting up lineups and future dream teams of whether it's going to be a Partey, Odegaard, Vieira. If that's what Mikel's planning, that would be interesting. I don't know when that would happen, but who knows?
Xhaka have something to say about it at the moment, though.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly balanced attacking wise. I think you've got the goal getter, the creator, and the powerhouse. I do think that's pretty well balanced.
Hmm.
Who does that? What clubs would that work best against?
The teams that come to the Emirates and sit 10 men behind the ball for 90 minutes. That sort of team. Like
What, Spurs?
We'll
Spurs.
get to them in a moment. Maybe
Someone
we'll
like-
this weekend. Who knows? It's a tasty option to contemplate. I would be surprised if Arteta went to that so soon, but you're right.
Yeah.
That is the way they like to play. Before we get to the North London derby, though, let's address the question of injuries. International break ongoing. I think everybody's slightly on pins and needles watching the Thomas Partey saga. He went to travel with Ghana, didn't play, was pulled in the warm-ups. A lot of concern that his knee wasn't right, that it didn't feel right. Team issued a statement; it was a precaution. That seems to be it. But then he's back in London, is he not? And anybody have any more than that on his condition?
Not yet. Still waiting. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, we know nothing. I'm pretty sure the club know if he's playing or not. They will know one way or the other. Like, it's not going to be what's he like an hour before kickoff? They will know now whether they're preparing for a North London derby with Partey in the midfield or someone else. They're not going to gamble in training on that at all. Not for this game. I suspect that he's going to be playing. I think he starts.
He played so much and he played so well in this last match against Brentford. Is this some kind of Mourinho-style gamesmanship on Arteta's part? He's injured, and then there he is, ready to go on Saturday.
He's getting good at it, I think. He's getting pretty good at it. I think he did that with Zinchenko against United, didn't he? He didn't say anything until we saw the lineup. But can you imagine the lineups for the Spurs game when we see Partey's name? That will really wake the fans up, I think. I think if we don't see his name, and it's not any disrespect to Sammy, but you know that certain level of confidence does change whether he's in the team or not. Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like Guardiola and say we cannot replace him. We cannot.
The thing is, I don't think we can. Not in this game. Like, I don't want to be harsh on Sammy. Some of the games he has played, he's done very, very well. And in fact, even against United on the ball, he did very, very well.
Yeah.
But where we came undone against United, I look at all 3 goals, and I think in the creation to that, who is there, if not making the tackle, at least disrupting it, putting them off a bit, it's Thomas Partey. And considering we're going to play a similar style, like, I do think he's irreplaceable in this game. Like, that's not to say it's Partey plays, we win, Partey doesn't, we lose. It's, of course not. But the role that he is going to have, particularly when, like, Harry Kane starts dropping into midfield or something like that, we need Partey there disrupting him or taking that clever yellow. We've seen him do it. Kane goes to turn, boot him out. But yeah, I just think he's got that tactical awareness that Sambi doesn't have yet, and that kind of ability to read the game. Sambi is developing a lot of aspects, but that only comes with experience, and Sambi's not just going to magically have it. So I think he is going to be a major factor in this game.
I think if you follow Rory Jennings and those guys on YouTube, a lot of their predictions for how well we do this season, they say is down to the fitness of Partey. So even those guys, they recognise his importance to us. I really would be interested to know what it is that's causing all these niggles and all sorts. I think it was quoted to say he hadn't fully adjusted to the pace or something that I read a while back, but yeah.
I've got my own thoughts on why he doesn't recover in time. But
another concern, right? We know that Zinchenko's been out. Tierney was at his international, came off very early. I saw lots of panic on the internet that he suffered a possible concussion, and now, horror of horrors, we're approaching North London derby with both of our left backs out, possibly out. This real story seems to be a lot less dire in Tierney's case.
Well, I watched the game, and he completely faked a head injury and come off the pitch. They called his bluff and took him off. He didn't even get touched in the head. It was terrible. I was thinking, how have you gone down here?
He's a tough cookie as well. He can. I haven't seen the incident.
He fully faked it, and then the Scotland manager called his bluff and took him off as a precaution.
It's a precaution, yes.
Who starts on the weekend for you guys? In the left backs.
Zinchenko
for me as well.
Zinchenko will be fit. Well,
yeah, we're going to be on the ball and controlling it. There'll be positions where it'd be nice to have a little NFL on defense, change him in, but yeah, it's the amount we are going to be on the ball. It's got to be Zinchenko,
and I think with Zinchenko pushing into midfield, having potentially 4 midfielders against Spurs is 2. I think we'll overload them in the middle of the pitch. Because you have Zinchenko, Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard against Bentancur and Højbjerg. I think we'll overload them there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this game is going to come down to what we do with the ball and the possession that we're going to have. Like, can we convert them like we have been doing? And how well can we stop the counter? I think, obviously, against United, that was a test we, couldn't quite stand up to. But obviously, the importance of this game, and I do think we learn lessons from defeats now. This isn't kind of like old Arsenal where you see the same defeat time and time again. Not really. Even the goals we concede, it doesn't tend to be the same mistakes. So hopefully we learn a lot of lessons from that United game and take into obviously what, as much as we'd have loved to have won away at Old Trafford, beating Tottenham at home is far more important to us.
I don't think we can put it off any longer, gentlemen. The next match is the North London derby at the Emirates. Given what we've seen from the international break, given what we saw against Brentford, and given what we've seen in the first 7 matches of the season, how confident are you? I mean, I feel like I'm a jinx. I should knock on wood here. I feel good about this match from an Arsenal perspective.
I can never be confident about a North London derby. The nerves are kicking in already. Form goes out the window in these games. It doesn't matter if we've won the last 50 games and they've lost the last 48. It doesn't matter. Arsenal versus Spurs. I'm nervous. Can't lie.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said, I can fully see how we win this game, and I can also see fully how we lose this game. I think it really is on a knife edge, and I don't think a knife edge game. You normally go, it's a cagey 1-0 game, 2-1. I think whichever team wins quite comfortably. But it's going to be on the day how those game plans play out. Either we are on that ball and batter their box and put it in the net 3 or 4 times, or in doing so, we lose the ball in dangerous positions and concede 3 like we did against United. So it's weird to say it's a knife-edge game, but I think whichever team wins puts down a bit of a statement on the scoreline.
This oddly suits Conte's approach. This is the kind of game that he's probably thinking about. We do tend to get really motivated for this game. I think the pattern of results at home has gone in our favour. I think it was Nuno Espirito. He was at the Realm last year, I think, before he got sacked. So this will be Conte's first visit to the Emirates. And I think we beat his Chelsea. I think it was like a 3-0 or 3-1. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we have done it before. So it's really nicely placed, this game. But for myself, I'm actually pretty confident on this one, I think. But we'll see.
Are you letting Stuart do the team talk again?
Yeah.
I'm getting fucking Thierry Henry in the dressing room telling him, listen, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
It's how it goes here. Wilshere did that with the under-18s, didn't he? Got Fabregas to give them a message about the North London derby. I feel like that's something Arteta could do with the first team.
I wouldn't be surprised if David Dean comes in, because he's doing the rounds at the moment on everyone's channels promoting his book. I wouldn't be surprised if he came in for a surprise team talk, but it's a bit of a reach, that one, but I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Where do we go? I mean, let's talk about the match itself. How do we know how Spurs like to play. They like to open the match sitting deep, trying to catch you on the break, catch you on the counter. And then, if the score favors them, or if, flatters them, if it's even, especially, or if they somehow snatch that lead, then they open up. But I think Arsenal should expect a compact Spurs defense from the opening whistle. What do you do?
I don't think we change our game plan. That's not really something we do. I think other than small, tweets like, Sambi's got to sit or Partey is going here, just telling Partey every time Kane drops, disrupt him. Just disrupt him.
Kick the fuck out of him.
I mean, that's what Højbjerg's going to do to us and get away with it all game long. So,
yeah.
But our overall game plan is not going to change. There might be some small, minor tweaks, which you see every game. So, I think we are going out to put a statement down and go, our football is better than yours. But it is going to be a risk. We are going to play into their hands a bit. But if we do take the lead, we have got to be smart as well. I saw a stat, I think it was yesterday, that really surprised me. No team has come back from losing positions more than Spurs in the last 2 years or something like that.
That's because the referee gives them penalties.
Some of them are very dodgy, and some of them are terrible teams, defending. But, one of the games that it helped win in the top, or got him in the top 4 last season was obviously Leicester were winning in the 90th minute and somehow completely collapsed. But they do seem to have this mentality, and I can think of several games where they've done it. It's where they are losing, even quite late on, and they have just kind of ploughed forward and really put pressure on. So I think even if we do get that lead, we then do need to be very aware, because they are going to start committing forward, which, yes, opens them up and might lead to us killing them off. But they have got some very good attacking players. We know that. So if they do kind of take the handbrake off for Arsenal's old saying, they are still going to be a threat. So it is one that we need to kind of manage differently in different periods of the game, because we know what's going to be, how the game's going to play out at 0-0 and how it's going to play out if they take the lead. but they're going to play very differently if we take the lead.
Yeah, if they do go 1-0 up, that's going to be a really tough situation to be in. When we went to their ground towards the end, we had the better start in the first 10 minutes before the penalty even happened. But once they got that penalty, their plan A came into play straight away. So whoever scores first may win the game this one. But yeah, we can't let them score first because that'll probably be exactly what they want.
Yeah, if we go 1-0 up, I'm doing a Rob Holding special.
Yeah,
3-4-3 straight away.
5, yeah.
Taking off Odegaard, putting Rob Holding at the centre back.
But they can't keep playing like this and winning. I don't know how they're doing it. It's very frustrating listening to all these pundits saying Spurs for the title or whatever because they're grinding out results. It's the placing of Spurs is very strange at the moment.
Yeah, we're sat top of the league playing great football, and we might get top 4.
Yeah, it's always a narrative, but it is strange because every time I watch Spurs, they do look vulnerable. Obviously, their system is designed to remove a lot of their defensive frailties while playing the situation to unleash, Son, and now you've got Kuleveski and Richarlison and whoever else you want to stick out there. They are built around this one system, but it's working very well for them. But they still look vulnerable. You can cover up with tactics and everything you want, but if you've got awful defenders, you're still going to concede. I'm sorry, as much as I see all this talk from other people that Romero is good, he is not. He is so vulnerable in so many situations, and I really want to see Jesus just going at him because he is going to make a rash tackle and give away a penalty, or Jesus is just going to absolutely glide past him at some point because you put him in a deep block all you want. It does, kind of like England did with Harry Maguire for a while, and it covered up a lot of his issues. But now they're showing, and eventually they do show through when good players get at you. So I think that is one area I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
Is it that dangerous prediction time? Because Noah's going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Jay can go first this time.
I said that last one as well, didn't I? I'm going for a repeat scoreline. I'm going to go 3-1. So same as last season.
He took my score. Piggyback on Jacob. I'll say 3-1. Again, I'll say and against logic, and I know this is against logic, but Arsenal was so confident, and it seems that this team is at a different level. I just think, we go back to them breaking down at Spurs late last year when they came in with the lead, but that was a squad. That was a penalty off Cedric, who's not going to be anywhere near the pitch tomorrow. We didn't have Jesus in the attack. We didn't have Saliba on the back line. And we didn't have Xhaka playing like this Xhaka. We've been talking about him. It's not just this week, it's all season. And I just think mentally this club is so much tougher than what we saw at the end of last year, where they're playing a lot of kids and they're playing on fumes and they're playing on hope. This team's not playing on hope anymore.
Yeah, my heart is telling me 4-0 and my head is telling me 2-1 to Arsenal. But yeah, I can see it. Hopefully 4-0.
I will go 3-0 clean sheet. Ooh. Saliba first and the song going on throughout the whole game. That's it.
It's party screamer time.
Yeah, it is.
I said it last year, but and it nearly happened.
Yeah.
It did. I think if you stop Kane, you stop Spurs. Then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't think they
Easy.
can hurt us as much as United can because they don't have the same sort of pace.
And I'd probably put the point out that the teams that they've faced, they haven't faced a side that are top for chance creations and that sort of thing. So I think us and City are topping that league table of shot conversions and creations. Chelsea and Leicester are probably the sides that they've faced, and they conceded 2 to them. But also it will be a different test for them to face a team that's putting away their chances. And they're our biggest test maybe in terms of maybe keeping us out, but they haven't faced a side that are taking their chances yet, and that should hopefully be the case on Saturday.
I can't wait to see Martinelli versus Emerson Royale.
Yeah.
He's going to feast.
Yes.
No, like he played Jed Spence.
Okay, gentlemen, we're in injury time here. For us, any final thoughts? We put our hearts on the line with our predictions. Bold predictions, strong predictions. You may not feel it, but put the numbers out there. What do you hope for? What do you look for? What have we not touched on yet in this part?
I think we've pretty much touched on everything, I think.
Bukayo Saka, maybe, in the way
We didn't talk about him in his performance for England. Again, played kind of his Arsenal career in reverse. He was playing on the left side in a defensive role. They didn't start. A lot of fans were upset by that. I was actually quite pleased. I thought, oh, good, he needed it for the North London Derby. I don't want him getting injured in this match. And then England needed him, and he answered the call 2 times, 3 times over.
Yeah, we know what he offers. To me, right now, particularly for England, he is England's best winger. I know some people shout at me, go Sterling, but he's not done it for England for a little while now. And Foden just doesn't do it for England. I saw a tweet where I put out the other day, and I think he nailed it spot on by saying he's now such a Guardiola player. He just doesn't suit the England setup. So Saka is, for me, England's most dangerous player. But yeah, I was quite glad he didn't start the game. He don't want him playing for them until the World Cup, really. Same as how I was happy the Brazilian boys stayed at home. So I'm just hoping, I don't know if there's any matches left now. I don't think so. But yeah, so I'm just glad that we've made it through without any real major issues. I know there's been a few ums and ahs, but on the whole, we've come through the international break without any major issues. So
I noticed the 3 Gabbies were in Mykonos this week. Must be nice.
Were they actually? Wow.
They were, yeah. They were last week as in Mykonos.
God, we need to keep them at home, man.
Fully rested, holidayed out, coming up against Spurs. It should be fun.
I think we've got the last time, I think we spoke about this before, the last time we came back from a break, we did lose to Palace. So I don't think it will be the same situation here. It will be a very different context, especially with the mentality of the club has changed. But with the Saka thing, I'll just finish off. I think there's 2 things that's worked in our favour here. Is he didn't play the game, so he's probably going to be a bit more rested than he would have been if he started the game. And he's also provided a bit of a gentle reminder to the England fans and maybe hopefully Gareth Southgate that he's probably their most dangerous player on the right-hand side, especially as he can glide through challenges and that sort of thing. So it's worked out for us in a way, and I've seen loads of different threads and conversations on Twitter already that he's not pinned to start. And, there's better players in his position, but I don't know what they see.
He's player of the year.
Mm.
His team, for his club, for his country. This makes no sense to argue it's not. Okay. How did he get that award?
Yeah.
Sour grapes. A lot of sour grapes. All right. Hopefully there's more sour grapes Spurs world when we meet again next week. Thank you all for joining us on this extended and issue-packed edition of the Daily Gooner Pod. You can see all of our Twitter handles beneath us. Daily Gooner Jake, MJA, TH14, what that number signifies. Daily Gooner Riot, Daily Gooner Raft. Find us online at thedailygooner.com, our website. Find us on Twitter at Daily Gooner Pod. All of our traffic there, any late breaking news. For all of these gentlemen in London, I'm Raphael, joining you from the United States, bidding you good night and another Arsenal North London Derby victory. See you next week.